I'm Lee from Frank Accounting, and joining me in Christchurch, I've got on the line on the video here Amanda Douglas from Wynn Williams. Amanda leads all the employment and health and safety practice for Wynn Williams. And look, thank you to all of you who are on the call, on the video. And we'll endeavour to get a recording out afterwards and some notes out afterwards as well for those who haven't been able to attend. Look, we've pulled this together pretty quickly following a conversation early this morning. Thank you to Amanda for offering to do this. We jumped at the opportunity because it's about getting the message out there to as many people as we possibly can. And, you know, as I said, it has been pulled together quickly. You'll bear with us if there's any technology issues as we go through. Look, I think we're all in this together, and that it's a hugely worrying time for everyone in New Zealand. But as business owners and managers, you're facing an additional pressure on top of what many people face. You know, you're concerned about obviously the impact on your families, your employees, your businesses. And I think that has really been heightened over the last few days as we've headed in towards this lockdown. So that we're fortunate in that we're able to work from home, some of us. At Frank, we're all working from home, and really we see ourselves as being very much on the front line. So don't hesitate to reach out at any point to any of us. And I know the team at Wynn Williams are operating on exactly the same basis. Look, so we've got 30 minutes. We've had a number of people send through some questions earlier. We'll endeavour to get through as many of those as we can. Well, Amanda will. Apologies in advance if we can't get through all of them, but look, we'll look to find another avenue to get information out to you and take on board any feedback or further questions you have. Look, many of the questions are about the wage subsidy, and we'll address that in particular. Many businesses that we've seen applied for the wage subsidy last week when it was announced on Wednesday. And since then, the impact on their business following the announcement of the lockdown, you know, they're seeing a much different impact to their business, perhaps from what they envisaged when they applied and received the wage subsidy. So we'll specifically address that and some other things too. So look, rather than take up any more time, Amanda, if you're okay if I hand over to you and you can ask and answer your questions if that's okay.
Sure thing. So hi everyone. This is, as Lee said, quite an unprecedented situation and one that there is no law book for. So a lot of the time we're dealing with simply announcements from sorry, I just need to get rid of something. Announcements from the Prime Minister, and we really have no law to go back to, which is what we're having to, which we would normally go back to. So we're having to use basically experience and our judgment on a number of matters. But there are a lot of employment principles that we can easily apply to what we need to do, and they have not been frozen, so we do need to make sure that we're meeting these employment requirements. So in general terms, as Lee said, a lot of people are asking questions around the wage subsidy, around what they do practically to deal with staff following the lockdown announcement, which will come into effect later today. So I suppose in general terms, it's quite useful to tell you that there are a lot of employers who are choosing to suspend their employees' operations if they are unable to have their staff work from home. So if you are able to have your staff working from home, then you can continue to pay them as usual in most cases. Some employers are looking at it and saying, well, we can have some people working from home, but that is not going to be all week. It might be a couple of days a week. And in that case, you are going to need to deal with a process to reduce those hours, or probably more to the point, the payment of those hours. I'll get in a moment to what that process might look like. In terms of those that just simply cannot work, many employers are choosing to suspend the employees' services. So this term suspension is quite different from the usual term of suspension when you might be suspending someone because they've done something wrong. We're not talking about that, but it's, I guess, similar word that we're using. Some are using a combination of wage subsidy and suspension of services. So in other words, for a period of time, such as the 4 weeks close down, we don't require you, we have got no work, we're shutting down part or all of our operations. And employers have got different abilities to pay or not pay during that time. Now, technically with the wage subsidy, there is a requirement to undertake to use best efforts to retain employees and to pay them a minimum of 80% of their normal income for the subsidised period. We're finding that a lot of employers are just simply not in a position to do that. But that is one of the, if you want to call it a legal requirement, that is one of the requirements there. Some employers, such as those who have already applied for the wage subsidy and now are finding in light of the lockdown that they are unable to meet that 80% requirement. I think that that's part of the best efforts that the government has put in its limited guideline on it. And the situation has been changing so rapidly, and I know that you would have all felt this, sometimes half daily. And so a day feels like a week at the moment, doesn't it? And so really in this current environment, what might have been your best efforts 2 days ago is now quite different. And I think we have to recognise that in this situation. And so some, when they are moving to a period of suspension, are simply only able to pass on the subsidy to their staff. Others may be in a situation where they can see that this is going to really affect their business long term, moving to termination. But I must say that the wage subsidy has given a bit of a reprieve to the termination discussions that we were having prior to the level 3, level 4 announcement. We were spending a lot of time, big periods of time with employers on the phone and otherwise trying to work out what they were going to do. At least at the moment, as extreme as it all is, we do have some certainty when it comes to the employment side of things. So there's a range of options that people are doing, but what you need to please be aware of is that the good faith and natural justice requirements have not gone out of the window. So we are doing a number of processes with employers about suspension and about the way that the employees are going to be paid in the forthcoming period. We can't do anything about the lockdown. The government has ordered that, and we now have a civil defence emergency declared to enable the powers to enforce all of those types of things. So that is a given, but we still need to consult with employees about that impact on them, particularly around how much they will be paid during this period, and they will want to have a say on that. So we've got a big team sitting behind me who looks like I'm swanning about talking on video conference today, doing a lot of that drafting for employers to make sure they meet their requirements.